Hi, I'm Abby Holiday, and this is my informative speech. Have you ever been up late studying for a test or working on a project and just needed that extra boost of energy to get you to the finish line? For many of us college students, we often rely on caffeine in coffee and soft drinks to give us the energy we need. I'm definitely guilty of this. Some days I drink 3 cups of coffee just to get through the day. Although we do appreciate the benefits of caffeine at the given time, it can be very harmful to our bodies, especially when it's overly consumed. Things you need to know about caffeine is what it really is, how it affects the body, and what causes these effects to take place. The first among these points is what caffeine really is. In July of 1984, Dr. Susan J. Wells stated in an article from the American Journal of Orthopsychiatry, quote, "Caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant that has come under increasing scrutiny due to its effects on the health and mental health of those who consume it. Caffeine is found in many plants worldwide, which are ingredients used in many foods and drinks around the world. Caffeine is a natural ingredient found in coffee, tea, and cocoa. It is also a food additive in soft drinks, specifically cola products." Dr. Wells also stated, "Caffeine is used as a stimulant, a headache remedy, and a diuretic that is found in many over-the-counter medications. It is often an additive used in other medications to help combat the side effects of drowsiness." This is exactly why we often find ourselves wanting a Coke or coffee while we're up late studying, as I mentioned before. Now that we know what caffeine is and what ways and places it is used, we can start to understand some of the effects involved, both good and bad. Although we hear different things about the effects of caffeine, there is still not enough evidence to prove that we should stop consuming it altogether. Dr. Wells also stated, "Evidence has shown that it does positively work as a stimulant for drowsiness, clearer and more rapid thought, and increased vigor. However, this is only accurate when taking the appropriate dosage. And once the caffeine has done that job, it follows up with the opposite effect, similar to crashing after a sugar high." In September 2013, Professor Jackie James of the Department of Psychology at the National University of Ireland stated, quote, "Physical dependence evidenced by the appearance of characteristic behavior, psychological and subjective withdrawal effects associated with periods of abstinence quickly develops in response to repeated exposure to caffeine. Continuous caffeine intake is addictive. It is not an easily noticeable effect. However, it is proven that through headaches, sleepiness, and flu-like symptoms, that withdrawals do take place." Professor James also mentions, "Many children and adolescents are subject to particular concern in the consumption of energy drinks. Mixing these caffeine-filled energy drinks with alcohol have severe effects, including impaired judgment about risky behavior, for example, drunk driving, and even death." Now we know what caffeine is and what effects can take place, but what causes these effects to occur? The cause is found in the caffeine itself. The reason you crash after being up on caffeine is because your body is no longer receiving the caffeine, and your body is now withdrawing. If you remember from the beginning of this speech, caffeine is addictive, and this is the primary cause for withdrawal. This is why companies continue to put caffeine in their products. It helps them get customers to come back for more. In August 2011, Professor Jackie James in the Journal of Adolescence states another cause, quote, "Sleepiness during daytime hours with consequential negative effects on academic achievement is exactly what would be expected from intermittent use of caffeine, especially in consumption tending to occur at the evening time. It is actually due to the reversal of withdrawal effects. And finally, mixing caffeine from energy drinks with alcohol has such severe effects because the caffeine counteracts with alcohol. Professor James states again that by offsetting the sedating effects of alcohol, caffeine can reduce the subjective sensation of intoxication and cause impaired judgments. Now we know what caffeine is, what effects can take place, and what causes them to occur. In conclusion, caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant that has mental and psychological highs and lows. Researchers have not yet found enough evidence to prove how harmful it could be. However, what evidence does show, Professor James states, is that 75% of adolescents consume caffeine beverages daily. Even when caffeine has positive effects, they usually end in a reversal effect. So, after hearing about caffeine, how many of you can say that you've been affected? Thank you.